What's up everybody, RetroWolf88 here, and I gotta tell you about a game that I have been going bananas over. It's a game that came out on February 28th on the Nintendo Switch for $14.99, and that game is Ape Out. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future content like this, and I want you to grab a banana, a handful of almonds, and a cayenne pepper, and let's talk about Ape Out for the Nintendo Switch. Man, oh man, this game, Ape Out, is something else. This is a truly unique experience that I highly recommend everybody check out. So, Ape Out is a game where you play as a gorilla. The game seems to be divided among different albums. So far I've made it to the second album in the game. Each album is divided into, I think, 4 or 5 sections, with each section being divided into several smaller sections. The goal of the game is to simply make it through the section alive. As I said, you play a gorilla. The game takes place in sort of a top-down overhead view, but it's a really unique perspective because the levels are maze-like. There's multiple paths that you can take throughout the levels, and the perspective of the game, like I said, it's like top-down, but it's different. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but it's a 3D top-down perspective with a very unique art style. This game uses very simple colors that contrast with one another. It has kind of like a fuzzy effect to the textures on the walls and the floors. Everything, like I said, everything has a nice contrast. When you kill an enemy, blood splatters all over the place, and that has a really big contrast to the rest of the color palette. There's some unique sections where you're in the dark and the color palette completely changes. The art style in the game is really unique. It's simple but effective and original, and I like it a lot. In addition to that, the game has very unique music. It's sort of like a very chaotic, percussive jazz style music. But what's cool about it is the music changes as you play the game. It adapts to what you're doing in the game. So if you're doing really good and the game's getting really intense, the music's going to change. You're going to hear crashing drums and cymbals every time you kill an enemy, and it just really adds another layer of originality and uniqueness to the game, which makes it even more enjoyable and even more intense. And let me tell you something, this game is intense and it is freaking hard. So the controls are very simple. You use the left stick to move the gorilla around, you use the right stick to aim. The right trigger pushes an enemy really hard, and the left trigger will grab an enemy, and while you have an enemy grabbed, you can turn them around, kind of use them as a human shield, or you can press the right trigger to throw them. In addition to that, when you grab an enemy, right after you grab them, they will fire their gun. So if you're quick and skilled enough, you can aim their gun at another enemy and fire that gun at the other enemy. It's really hard to pull off though. There's a lot of different enemy types in the game that have different guns. Some of them are heavier, some of the enemies are heavier, some of them are lighter. You got enemies with pistols, rifles, shotguns, machine guns, laser scoped sniper rifles, just all kinds of enemies that throw explosives at you. The enemies that throw explosives at you, you can also throw them at other enemies and they will explode. But like I said, the game is really difficult because if you get shot 3 times, you're dead. No health bar. You don't have any. You have unlimited lives, unlimited continues. Every time you get shot, well, the first time you get shot, you're going to be bleeding a little bit. The second time you get shot, you're going to be bleeding a lot. And then if you get shot again after that, you're dead. So the game is really hard. Now, there are pretty frequent checkpoints. Every time you make it through a string of sections, you'll reach a checkpoint. You'll know you reach a checkpoint because you'll get a cool little animated title for the next section that has kind of a rhythm and music to it as well. The game is it's really awesome, but like I said multiple times, it is a hard game. So if you don't like hard games, you may want to stay away from this one. I'm struggling with this game. Like I said, I'm only on the second album. I made it through the first album. I died, I think the game, it took me 23 minutes to make it through the first album, and I died 15 times if I remember correctly. In the first album, you're like escaping from a laboratory or something, or a prison of some kind. In the second album, it's really, really cool. In the second album, you're in a skyscraper, and you're on the 30th floor of the skyscraper, and you're trying to make your way all the way down through every single floor. And every 4 floors, you reach a checkpoint. But in the skyscraper, what's cool is you can push enemies through the window, and you'll see them fall all the way to the ground, and you can throw them through the window, and you're moving through offices, and I mean, it's just really, really cool, and it makes me excited to see what the other 2 albums. I think there's only 4 albums, just judging by the space on the screen after you unlock the first 2 albums, but I don't know. I'm just assuming. I can't wait to see what the other albums do to add some more variety to the game, because as I said, the controls are very simple, but they do a lot with the simplicity, and that's what I like. I like a game that takes something simple and does a lot with those simple mechanics and builds upon those simple mechanics throughout the game as you progress further and further through the game, where you think to yourself, there's no way they can introduce new gameplay elements with this kind of simplicity, but a good developer will surprise you with some really awesome gameplay elements. Just to sum up, this game is a winner. It's very difficult, it's very intense, simplistic gameplay, yet deep and fun and rhythmic and fast and frenetic. The art style and the graphics are very unique. The music in the game is very unique. This is a very unique and original game, and it really breathes a breath of fresh air into the Nintendo Switch eShop, where we do see a lot of similar games. It's really nice to see something stand out from the crowd, and Ape Out certainly does that. Again, it was released on February 28th, and you can buy this game for $14.99. So far, I can recommend it for that price. I'm having a blast with it, and I can't wait to play it some more. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and gorilla pound all over that like button and subscribe for future content like this. I'll see you all next time. Later.